the trip as a whole was just incredible. So I think setting it up as a mystery adds even more excitement around it. Every day was something different and unique. Some days we were actually making up the journey a little bit as we were going, and each individual experience we had on each day had a different facet and a different exposure to that connection in the environment and nature and the group as us and the dynamic across the group. I think the most unique thing for me was we're obviously in Greenland, which is a place that very few individuals have visited or even live. So that in itself was unique. Being part of a trip on a boat, I haven't spent quite a lot of time traveling on a boat, so it was a unique way to see a country. Also the uniqueness of the group and the individuals and the connection that we formed. And then I think that the other component is just the camaraderie and the challenge in some of the individual days that we took on. I think that was also quite unique. Some of the wildlife and environment, I mean, it's spectacular scenery. I hugely value the opportunity to come back because I think that this is definitely an environment that's going to change quite significantly in the coming years. It's really hard to pick a favorite bit of the trip, largely because everything that we did was unique and incredible. If I was to pick just one, I think there was a day that we pulled out some kayaks and went kayaking around an area they call Glacial City. What was really stood out as the favorite piece for me was it was raining and there was heavy mist in the area. So for me, it gave a feeling of what Greenland is for the large majority of the year. So there was a connection really to Greenland in a new way. Most of the days we've had incredibly beautiful weather, but that one stood out for that reason, that it was a little bit more rainy, a little bit more misty, and I think representative of what the weather conditions would be like in Greenland most of the year. I'm going to take away a couple of things. One is that spending time traveling and forming a connection with not only the environment. Normally I take a lot away from immersion in culture and environment when I travel. The big takeaway for me is the connection and depth of interaction with the group that I've also been a part of. So that's probably the biggest aha moment for me that I will ponder and think differently about how I approach these type of adventures in the future. Matt and Chris are both incredible individuals, both unique in their own respects. I think they complement each other really well. So we've spent a lot of time on this trip not only out doing some physically challenging things, but we've also spent time pondering from an intellectual and a spiritual perspective. So they bring a well-rounded and balanced perspective in both of their personalities. I think it's incredible to see some of the individual paths that they've been on in their own lives, and they've been very open and transparent in sharing that. So I've really respected and appreciated their willingness to share. The other thing that stands out for me is although they've been the organizers of the trip and in some respects leaders, they've never actively taken a leadership role or seen themselves as the ultimate leaders and authority of the group. We've really gelled together as one group, and they've seen themselves as much participants as leaders of the group, which is quite unique in its own respect. For others interested in doing an adventure like this, I think just dive in. There's obviously quite a lot of mystery to what you're signing up to. We've talked a lot about operating from the head and the heart and the gut. If your heart and gut are saying, yes, this is something that I want to step into and challenge myself, I would say just go for it and let the mystery unfold as it does along the way.